This is the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting.
I call this meeting of the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors to order on this Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 10 a.m. And we'll go through roll call. Vasquez.
Here.
Boyer. Here. Craig, Mary.
Here.
Craig, Patricia.
Here.
Ellis is excused. Fedowitz.
Here.
Golding. Here. Hardy.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Keppen.
Here.
Kussman.
Here.
Lear.
Here.
McClone.
Here.
Morak.
Here.
Muck.
Here.
Murphy, Gerald.
Here.
Murphy, Terry is absent. Newman.
Here.
Nygaard.
Here.
Pullman. Here. Ritchie is excused. Rowan.
Here.
Spearings.
Here.
Winsgelski.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Zog.
Here.
24 members present, 2 excused, and 1 absent. This meeting and all other meetings of the board are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance to the Wisconsin statute, so the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Please stand if you are able for the silent meditation and pledge to the flag. The flag is over there. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisors, please remain standing. We're going to reaffirm the oath that we took on April 21st. So if you could raise your right hands and repeat after me. I, please state your name, have been elected to the office of County Board Supervisor, do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Wisconsin, and faithfully perform the duties of said office to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, Supervisor Lear?
Yeah.
Moved by Supervisor Lear. Is there a second? Supervisor Morak? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the April 21st minutes? Supervisor Pullman?
Second.
Supervisor Johnson, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. I will now call for nominations to the County Board Chair position, and I will call 3 times. Is there any nomination for the County Board Chair? Supervisor Zog.
I would like to nominate the person who has some similarities to me, and that he loves baseball and dogs. And so I'm proud to nominate Dick Keppen as chairman of the Waupaca County Board.
Thank you. Supervisor Zog nominates Supervisor Keppen. Are there any other nominations? Third and final call. Are there any other nominations? Supervisor Craig?
I move the nomination be closed and we cast a unanimous ballot for Dick Keppen.
That motion has been made.
Second.
Supervisor Nygaard seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair Keppen, if you want to come forward and run the
Congratulations,
meeting.
buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
First of all, I want to thank all of you every one of you here and the staff who isn't here for making it possible for me to serve another 2 years, God willing. If you think that a good job's been doing here, it's because of you people. I wouldn't have been a county board chair this long if it wasn't for you people and the staff upstairs. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. In my terms with the WCA, traveling in many other counties, giving talks about the Waupaca County way, we are so fortunate. Not every county gets along like we do. And they make it worse. They start fighting about it. At least here we talk about it. We can still walk out the front door as friends. That's what it's been here for years. It's more like family. We all have family disagreements, but we understand. The same with staff. Our staff is phenomenal. Mark O'Connell used to tell me when he came here, this is the most phenomenal staff in his travels through the state of Wisconsin. But he said, Kaplan, make sure you do this. Tell them often what a good job you're doing. And we try to do that. So again, thanks so much.
Take your lapel as well also. Sorry, I don't know if I turned it on for you.
Do I have to say this all over again?
No, I think everyone, was everybody able to hear Chair Kaplan? I didn't want to interrupt.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, let's have the election of the vice chair. Mr. Mark?
Thank you. After sitting beside her for 2 years and helped me through dealing with cops and robbery issues on the law enforcement committee, I would like to nominate Mary Kay Pullman for vice chair.
Okay, any other nominations? Mr. Quisman?
I'd like to nominate Dwayne Federowitz for vice chair.
Mr. Quisman nominates Dwayne Federowitz. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? So now we vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Need a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Zog and a second by Supervisor Lair. Any questions regarding that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion's carried.
You do have paper in front of you, little white scrap pieces of paper to cast your ballot. Dawn will go around with a basket and you can put your ballot in there, and then we will do the tally and announce the vote.
Let's put a check in that week.
Thought it was like church, you take out what your change is.
We had a good priest, Father Schomer, when Senior Schomer and I was taking collections. He had a sense of humor. So after the sermon, I went down and took collections and I started bringing it up and he stopped me halfway. Hey, Captain, how's it look in there? Anything in there? Not much. Run around again. True story, too.
Did you take care of your COVID-19 guy from Norway?
Oh. You still run on the farm.
I think it would be effective.
Congratulations, Mary Kay Coleman, you are the new vice chair. You can either choose to come up to the front table, which will not be on camera because I ran out of cameras, or you can stay there, whichever you prefer.
I'll stay here. Thank you all very much. I will do my
Congratulations.
best.
Okay, we're down to the election of the Highway Committee. To succeed Joe McClone. Supervisor Boyer,
I would like to nominate Joe McClone.
Supervisor Ware,
I'll second it. Or are you going to
We,
go the
we don't
whole-
need a second for nominations, but thank you.
Okay.
any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Move the nominations be closed.
Motion by Zog to move that the nominations be closed, and a second by,
Mayor Spears.
I'm looking at two different people. Mr. Spear, yes.
Was that motion to also close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot, Mr. Zahn?
Yes.
Same with a second?
Yes, and I got the Spearing as a second.
Okay, great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Congratulations, Supervisor McClone.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, we go down to succeed Lee Monk. Mr. Chrisman?
I'd like to nominate Lee Monk.
Mr. Chrisman nominates Lee Monk. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Move the nominations be closed.
Mr. Dawes moves that the nominations be closed
Cast a unanimous vote.
and cast unanimous
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
And I second that.
And Mr. Nygaard seconded it. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Monk.
Thank you, appreciate it.
To succeed Dick Bruin.
Make a motion to nominate Dick Rowan.
Mr. Johnson nominates Dick Rowan. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed and cast a unanimous ballot for Dick Rowan.
Supervisor Craig,
Second.
nominations be closed and cast unanimous ballot, and a second by Mr. Zoll. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations, Mr. Rowan.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, now we have two vacant seats. For the first one, Mr. Chrisman.
I'd like to nominate Fred Zog.
Motion by Mr. Chrisman to nominate Fred Zog. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I got a question. Is it for one of the vacancies or both of the vacancies?
One of the vacancies, then there's a second for the next one.
Thank you.
Mr. Nygaard?
Move to close nominations and cast unanimous ballot for Fred.
Okay, motion by
Supervisor Nygaard.
Supervisor Nygaard to cast unanimous ballot, you said?
Correct.
Okay,
A second.
okay, and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Now,
Thanks, everyone.
yes, you bet. Ready for the last one?
Ready for the last one.
Okay. Supervisor Blair?
You know, I would like to nominate James Nygaard for the highway.
Okay. Mr. James Nygaard is nominated for this vacancy. Is there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed and unanimous ballot cast for Jim Nygaard.
Mr. Dodd moved to cast unanimous ballot, the nominations be closed.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Murphy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Nygaard.
Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here.
Chair will now appoint the committee on committees formed up of chair, vice chair, and 5 other members.
And we're going to meet where?
We are meeting upstairs in the back of the county board room, 1068. Immediately following, or once I can shut down this one and get up there and get that one started.
I'm gonna walk up the stairs in my cane.
Give me time, go slow.
Okay, my committee and committee selection is Jim Nygaard, Dennis Quistman, Gerald Murphy, Fred Zog, Mary Kay Pullman, Dennis Fedowitz, and myself. Is there a motion for approval?
You actually just call it, you don't have to have approval for that, sir. You are the authority.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, was it Dwayne?
Dwayne Fedowitz.
Is that
It's
Dwayne's
Dennis.
brother or what?
Dennis is Dennis. You said I have that power.
You have
You have the power.
sir.
Why did I marry you?
I'm not gonna ask when you got married, but probably won't be.
Okay, so,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
I would like to say that your agenda for committee on committee says immediately following the county board, but no sooner than 11 a.m. in room 1068 county board room.
Right, I had to set a time, so I did it immediately following with no sooner than 11 in case
In
this
case
got
this
done.
gets closed quicker, then they know they have till 11 to get there.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, if it is closed quicker, thank you, Pat, I apologize.
okay. Ordinance 12A, amend code of ordinances, chapter 1, general government.
Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 are our rules of body. We're starting with Chapter 1. It was in your packet with some minor changes and corrections. Was there any questions on anything with Chapter 1? Did anyone have any questions of any of the changes that were made? If not, if the chair approves, I would ask for a motion to approve as Chapter 1 as amended.
Supervisor's on.
I would move that we approve chapter 1 of the federal government as presented.
Okay, that's motion by Mr. Zahn to approve, second by Chandler. Any questions? Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
Chapter 2 is an extensive change. This change has been worked on for about a year and a half, maybe longer, and has gone to legislative and judicial, as well as the executive committee. There's quite an extensive change to this chapter, kind of putting it out. I don't know if anyone has any wants me to go into anything, or you know, if you had a chance to take a look and read through it, if there's any questions or concerns. I don't know if you want to get a motion on, if you want me to go through it, I will.
I think there's a question in regards to the number of people on the committee. I know it came up at the executive committee where it was due some of the language in regards to makeup of committees. There was something brought up as far as law enforcement that it was only 5, and I think that was kind of pulled out of chapter 2, was it not?
No, actually, what was pulled out of chapter 2 was odd number of committees, that it be mandatory to be odd number of committees. But because it had already been listed as a 5-member committee for law enforcement, that was not changed. So if you'd like to have that change, that motion would have to be made on the floor. Otherwise, law enforcement is going from a 6-member to a 5-member. But the executive committee struck down the what they had originally put in, where it was the odd number committee makeup. So that didn't automatically change that law enforcement composition because that was already there.
If I may, there was some confusion there, maybe only by me, but we had many discussions in law enforcement regarding this issue. And there are all different types of scenarios. Now, in another life or another, what should I say, leadership over at the law enforcement, I was asked to attend law enforcement a lot, especially during budget times and all that type of thing. And finally, they said, well, I just recommend you should be in this committee. You should be in it anyway. So I added myself, and that gave us 6. And now the question came up that I can't be on there, or I guess I could, but the way it was worded, they made up of 5 supervisors and may include the chair. So I thought that through discussion, maybe some chairs, he or she doesn't want to be on that law enforcement, doesn't have to be. But I just thought that I would name 5 supervisors on there, and I could attend as a 6th in a voting manner. That's what I was understood, and I came out and I questioned Jill, and she said, no, that's not the way it was. So I didn't understand it apparently, but there's some others that didn't understand it either.
So we could have a motion on the floor to change the wording and section 2.15 G, which currently reads Law Enforcement Committee, 5-member committee made up of county board supervisors created by Resolution 5/1939-1940, which may include the county board chairperson. This committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and medical examiner's office activities. Supervisor Christmas.
I'll move to approve.
Would you like to move to change that to a 6-member? Is that what you're saying, rather than a 5-member?
Just as you said, there's 5 members plus if the chair.
It actually reads that 5 may include the chair. So if you'd like to amend it to either 6-person or 5 members and include the chair, whichever amendment you prefer.
5 members including the chair.
No.
So that's a total of 5 members.
That's 5.
5 members plus the chair.
And may include the chair.
That's how I
Yeah,
understand.
that's the way I understood.
I'll second that.
It does read 5 members and may include, so you'd have to change it to 6 members and may include.
Oh, 6 members, let's do it that way, Dennis.
I'll make it.
So there's,
I'll second it, with 6 members and include.
okay, so let me
Okay,
just.
there is a motion by Mr. Quisman and a second by Mr. McCullough.
So I'll read back what that change would be. Again, in section 2.15, I'm just getting this down so I have it for the minutes. G, I keep missing that. Law Enforcement Committee, changing from a 5-member to a 6-member committee made up of the county board supervisors created by Resolution 5/1939-1940, which may include the county board chairperson. This committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and medical examiner's office. We have a motion by Supervisor Christman and a second by Supervisor McClone for that amendment.
Supervisor Gray?
I think it's still a little unclear. In my opinion, it's a 5-member board, and you can include the county board, and plus the county, plus the
There are
county,
pluses there.
plus the chairman. This says which may include. So if you say 6 members and the county board chair decides not to be on it, then there's going to be 6 members that are appointed, because we've said 6 members made up of county board supervisors is the phrase that follows 5-member committee, made up of county board supervisors, and then which may include the county board chairperson. That was extra.
The county board chair is a supervisor, so that would be within that 6 members, and it's just making it so that if a county board supervisor does not want to sit on that committee, they do not have to place themselves on that committee, is the way I believe the language was written, Diane.
But the discussion is, you then call out, which may include the county board chairperson. So to me, you're calling out the chairman separately. He can, she or he can or cannot be on it if they choose. But the rest of them, there's going to be 5. So it's 5 plus. the county board chair.
But
Is that
then,
what you mean, Dennis?
but then if the chair chooses not to be on it, then you're back to a 5-member committee.
Correct. Because
So
that
you-
will be your odd numbered committee that you have that everybody else typically functions with is 5 members.
How does corporate counsel interpret this?
Well, I think that we have to continue to work on the wording if we're all confused. So that's the problem in interpretation. But I agree with Phil that it's, we started with 5 to include the chair, if he or she wanted to be on. But Dennis's motion changes it to 6, including the chair. So if he or she wants to be on it. So Phil said if he or she doesn't want to be on it, then another supervisor could be in that slot. But I think you're right, because we're confused. I'm not sure what the goal is. I was at conversation at the committee level, and one of the concerns was if the chair just puts him or herself on it without being included in the description, is that person then a voting member, and is that person entitled to per diem? So that is why, that's the background of why we're calling this out.
Could we word it so that it's a 5-member committee, and at the chairman's discretion, be a voting member of that committee? So then it's up to the chairman. You have 5 unless the chairman wants to join it.
Yeah, I think that's more confusing.
Why don't we just say a 6-person committee and don't even mention a chair? Because if that chair, he or she who's appointing the committees, decides to put herself on or himself, it's a part of the 6 committee.
But then if they choose not to, then they have to appoint someone.
Yeah.
If I
which
could,
I'm okay
part of the conversation at committee level, this was going on when Supervisor Jonley and Supervisor Handrich were also members of the committee. So I think there was conversation to preserve their slots on the committee and then also to preserve Chair Pepin's role on the committee. So now we're in a different situation because Supervisor Jonley and Supervisor Handrich are not seated anymore. They chose not to run for the election. So we're a little bit more free in terms of not stepping on toes with what we can say. And I guess I agree with Dick that if we say, really the committee on the committees sets what is on the law enforcement composition, and largely the chair directs the committee on the committee. So if he or she feels he or she wants to be on the committee, then placement can be made and approved by the full board.
So
Then
you're
where we're at, I mean, if we want to go that route, then we're at procedure-wise, is we have to take a vote on the motion, and if you don't want what Dennis proposed, deny it, vote no, and then we can do another amendment.
Are you saying that it's a 6-member committee?
That's what Chair Pepin suggested as the language. It seems to me
Less confusing.
It is.
and it serves, or you want it to be a 5-member committee, and then same thing, the chair can put himself on or herself on the committee on committee. And not having the chairperson separate as part of the board.
I'm sorry, Diane, I guess it's confusing again. Why can't it just be a 6-person committee and the chair wants to be on that committee, he puts himself on that committee or her, and so it's going to be 6 members all the time?
I'm agreeing with you, but the motion on the floor is different.
We'll just have to vote either down the motion on the floor if that's what everyone doesn't want anymore. We can vote on that, and you can vote it down if you choose to. And then we can vote on the motion, on the concept of what Chair Pepin is saying, which is a 6-member committee, not have any wording of the chair in there.
Can we rescind their motions?
I believe they're on the floor. They're the possession of the body now because they were motioned in second. So we do have to have a all in favor and then proper vote.
Question, with a 6-member voting, you could have a tie quite often.
Sure.
So then, is that why we normally have 5, so you don't have ties? So if you have a 6, now we have an issue of how you break a tie, or I mean, I just as an example of what a 6-member group is gonna cause.
We have,
Tie.
I'm sorry.
A tie doesn't go. I mean, it's voted down then.
It's failed.
Failed.
Well, I agree, but then if we have issues, are we gonna get places then? Or are we gonna be at a stalemate when you have 6 people compared to the 5 where you always have power?
Excuse me, we can go back to finance. It's been 8 forever.
Well, no, I just bring that up as a issue.
Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, I don't belong to the committee that's under consideration right now, but I would say in all my years here at the county board and various committees, I can't remember the last time we had a tie. So I think that's maybe a specious argument to try to change this whole thing. And as Chair Kevin says, a tie is a vote. It means if it's tied, it means doesn't fly, doesn't go. So I don't see what the problem is, whether over voting, whether it's an odd or an even number.
Mr. Nygaard?
I'm thinking maybe 6 members is a good idea on this committee. It's an important committee. They handle a lot of money. There's a lot of personnel issues, and another voice of experience and input is probably an asset. So to make it a 6-member committee, you take the chance of dealing with a contentious situation once in a while. But if it's a tie vote, then there's merit to both sides of the argument. So then it's probably just as good that there isn't a push one way or another then.
Thank you. Mr. Questman?
Jill, would you read my motion again?
Sure. The motion that's originally on the floor is that the change to section 2.15G, Law Enforcement Committee, 6-member committee made up of county board supervisors created by Resolution 5, 1939, 1940, which may include the county board chairman. This committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and medical examiner's office activities. That's what the motion on the floor currently is, with a by Chrisman, second by McClellan.
Thank you.
If you want to call the vote.
So what's the next step?
We have to vote on that because it's
Okay.
on the floor, so all.
Okay, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
So you're motioning to.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna have to do this by roll call. So the motion that we're gonna do by roll call for the motion to leave it as a 6-member with the opportunity for the county board, Dennis's, but we could come back and clarify that if this does not pass, and we could clarify that just to remove that, so.
Excuse me, Joe. So tell us again what a yes vote means, what a no vote means.
Yes vote means that the yes vote will mean that it will be a 6-member committee made up of county board supervisors, which may, and I'll pass the resolution part, which may include the county board chairperson. So that's what a yes vote means. A no vote means you'll debate it again or pass it as it stood as a 5-member committee made up of county board supervisors and may include the chair. So if you want another kick at the can, you're going to have to vote this down and be able to talk about it and put it in more clearer language. Yes.
So the only difference in the two motions is how many members are on the board.
There's no second motion on the floor. They've been talking about possibly changing the possible next motion from, if I heard correctly, the possible next motion could be law enforcement committee would be a 6-member committee made up of the county board supervisors created by resolution number 5, 1939, 1940. The committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and medical examiner's office. If that's in consideration after this one is voted on, that removes the language, whether it's chair or not chair on the committee. It's up to the chair whether they want to place themselves on a 6-member committee. That help? Does that explain it? Yes.
Supervisor Gray.
Doesn't the first one also say that? It says which may include the county board chair. If you have 6 members, which may include the chairperson. It says the same thing.
It did, but it seemed to cause confusion amongst everyone, so that's why we thought maybe it could be voted up or down, but you can vote on it as it stands.
I think, Pat, so is it 6, is the chair a supervisor, or is the chair the chair?
But in the end, it ends up to be 6 members on the committee. It can have the county board chair or not. With this one, with the first one, which what Dennis said.
That's,
Both of them could have that ultimately, but it seemed like the first one was causing confusion. That's why
It caused confusion when we had a 5-member committee, which may include the county board chair.
yeah, that was.
To plus. So now that it says 6, means the same thing.
Oh, Supervisor Pullman, I'm sorry.
I think my opinion would be that we would vote this one down, bring it back and just the language without the county board chair language in it and just say a 6-member committee. Right? Did that
It's
make
totally up to the body.
thing?
Well, we should do the vote. Yeah,
So I'm going to call a vote. This is what you're voting on, to amend chapter 2 to read Law Enforcement Committee, 6-member committee made up of county board supervisors created by resolution number 5, 1939-1940, which may include the county board chairperson. This committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and the medical examiner's office. Supervisor Vasquez,
No.
Supervisor Boyer,
No.
Supervisor Mary Craig,
No.
Supervisor Patricia Craig,
Yes.
Supervisor Fedowitz,
No.
Supervisor Golding,
No.
Supervisor Hardy,
No.
Supervisor Yeager,
No.
Supervisor Johnson,
Yes.
Supervisor Keppen,
Yes.
Supervisor Chrisman,
Yes.
Supervisor Lear,
Yes.
Supervisor McClone,
Yes.
Supervisor Morak,
No.
Supervisor Muck,
Yes.
Supervisor Gerald Murphy,
Yes.
Supervisor Newman,
No.
Supervisor Nygaard,
No.
Supervisor Pullman,
No.
Supervisor Rowan,
No.
Supervisor Spearings,
Yeah.
Supervisor Wengelski,
No.
Supervisor Will,
No.
Supervisor Zog.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that I have the right count.
This is just a simple majority vote.
Okay, I have that failed 14 to 10.
So 10 yes, 14 no.
Pardon me?
Correct. Correct. 14 no, 10 yes. So that motion was failed. Is there anyone want to?
I would like to make a motion that it's just a 6-member committee of county board supervisors. That way the chair can put himself on or she or whatever.
Supervisor Pullman, you stated her motion,
I'll second that.
and a second by Peter.
I'm going to clarify so I make sure that I have this motion correct. So the motion now is on the floor to remove the words which would change the word 5 to 6 and remove the words which may include the county board chairman. So it would now read Law Enforcement Committee, 6-member committee made up of county board supervisors created by resolution 5, 1939-1940. This committee is responsible to review the sheriff's office, E911, and the medical examiner's office activities. Is that correct, Supervisor Bowman?
Yes.
Okay, is there
I'll second.
I have a second from Supervisor Vasquez.
questions? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Well, that was easy. You know, last year we built the $23 million highway facility. We never had this much discussion.
Is there any other clarification on chapter 2 that anyone would like?
That's right, great.
I don't want clarification, but I would like to say thank you for legislative and judicial, and Jill and Diane for going through this and revamping it, changing it, putting it together. I attended quite a few of their meetings, and it was a long project, and there were a lot of things that they updated and changed, and I want to say good job.
Yes, I second that. Thank you. Kind of a tedious job too, because you're not going to make everyone happy. Okay.
Take a vote on the code.
Yeah. So we need to vote on, make a motion we made a motion to make a change. We amended the version that was presented. And now we have to make a motion to repeal and replace the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, the governing body as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Vasquez and a second by Mr. McClure. Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Oh, and you wondering if there's any more questions in chapter 2?
No,
We're done with that?
We're done with it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Do you mind if I talk about the announcements? Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. On your desk is the 2020 WCA memberships survey. It's a yellow sheet of paper. If you filled it out, you can leave it on your desk and I will pick that up to submit. Or if you want to bring it back tomorrow, or if you're Zooming tomorrow, you can also just let me know and just let me know it's on its way. It's going to come back. There's also a packet from WCA with the publication distribution. I also wanted to make a correction. On the agenda, it's correct, but tomorrow's meeting is at 9 a.m. That did get put on something with a 10 a.m. start, and I apologize, but it is a 9 a.m. And members are able to Zoom if they choose to, otherwise come in person. We will be in this room like this. And then county or committee on committees, as Pat had mentioned, that will start no earlier than 11 a.m. up in room 1068, led by Chair Kevin.
And just a clarification too, and I think Jill told me that was her plan, or a plan to, once the committees are selected and passed by the board tomorrow, and that the vote for the chair and vice chair of those committees will happen at a later date at the meeting.
If everyone's in agreement, the new rules do allow us to do it at the first meeting of that group. And I think that might, with our times and that one, because we end up going, you have this member, Dick might be on this committee and this committee, and he can't, to run around and then you have to gather. So to avoid the gathering, you have 30 days from the organizational session. So most of our committees are meeting in the next few weeks. So we can just do it at the committee level if everyone agrees to that. Yeah.
And also go through the citizen numbers and selecting their leadership.
Yes, thank you, Diane.
Supervisor Lair?
Yeah, we were down in the basement when we had our meeting a couple weeks ago. I would like to have someone introduce the new members so that we know who the new members are.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. So, it's not on the agenda, so can I put it under my report tomorrow?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
We'll do that under my report.
And then under tomorrow's too, I did put on the agenda that we will do our group picture, but we'll plan that for a later date when we can gather standing side by side. And then, we'll do that at that point.
And also tomorrow's meeting is usually a pretty short one. So your new members, I'd like to have you come up to the front and tell us a little bit about yourself. How you got here, all that type of thing. Very good. Okay, we'll call this County Board of Supervisors organizational session, second day, to order this Wednesday, May 6th. Roll call, please.
Vasquez.
Here.
Joyce Boyer. Sorry. Craig Mary. Here. Craig Patricia. Here. Bob Ellis.
Here.
Dwayne Fedowitz.
Here.
Sue Golding. Here. Cindy Hardy. Here. Ken Yeager.
Here.
David Johnson.
Here.
Dick Keppen.
Here.
Dennis Kussman.
Here.
Janet Lear.
Here.
Joe McClone.
Here.
David Morak.
Here.
Lee Muck.
Here.
Gerald Murphy.
Here.
Terry Murphy.
Here.
Dave Newman.
Here.
Jim Nygaard.
Here.
Mary Kay Pullman. Here. Bernie Ritchie is excused. Dick Rowan.
Here.
Jack Experience.
I'm here.
Jack, oh,
Going.
was that you, Dick Rowan?
Yes, I'm here.
Jack Spearings, are you here? Supervisor Spearings? Okay, Supervisor Spearings is absent. Dennis Winzelski, I'll get your name one of these times, Dennis, I promise. Kevin Will.
Here.
Fred Zog.
Here.
Okay, that shows that we have 26 members, 2 of them by Zoom. I'm sorry, 25 members, 2 of them by Zoom.
Okay, Clerk Lodewagen, have the open meeting statement been fulfilled legally?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Please join me in standing. Silent meditation for the pledge. Flag is right over here. Pledge allegiance to the flag
United States
and to the republic
which stands one nation under
Thank you very much. You're going to have to understand, I can't sell your name tags, even though I've known you, been around you. I don't remember your names. Thank you, Mr. Zog. We need a motion to approve the agenda for today. Okay, motion by
Supervisor Moran?
Supervisor Moore. Yes, nice to meet you. And a second by Mr. Zog. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion is carried.
Any opposition? Thank you. I'm sorry, I was just asking if there was any opposition.
Okay, we need the minutes approved for May 5th, 2020. Motion by Supervisor Laird. And we have a second by Supervisor Wengelski. Any questions regarding that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, the committees appointments, committees appointments, we met yesterday afternoon, of course. It took, a month or so to work into this, with various changes, and we weren't sure of the election, how that was going to work. I'm talking about we, as Mandy and I mentioned that yesterday. So Mandy and I met a number of times for an hour or two, sometimes even on the phone. And usually it was on the phone when we thought we had this all set. And then I would call her, she'd go, oh no, guess what? We made a mistake. So this happened right up until yesterday morning. And, but I think we got an agreement here because a list was approved by the committee and committees yesterday to pass it on to the board here for approval. So I need a motion for approval before discussion. There's a motion by Mr. Zog and a second by Mr. Gerald Murphy. Well, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discussion? Discussion? Oh, that's right. We got horse in front of the cart again. That's called a ramrod job, huh?
That's right. Railroad.
Well, that was quick. Well, let's go down to the ordinance and amendments, the general code of ordinance. A is 2020-699, amendment to chapter 34. Petition number Z-008-20, Town of Caledonia, Chilkey Farms, LP, for a zoning map amendment from AR district to AW district on approximately 1.5 acres. Mr. Fredwitz? Mr. Fredwitz moves for approval. There's a second by Mr. Nygaard. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, now we'll go down to B, which is the 2020-700 amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-009-20. Town of Helvetia, Urban C. and Irene Schmucker for a zoning map amendment from the RR district to AR district on approximately 10 acres. Motion by Mary Murphy, and a second by Mr. Dennis Questman. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion
Aye.
Item C, 2020-701, amendment to chapter 34, petition number Z-010-20, Town of Helvetia. Chad Vestal for a zoning map amendment from RR district to PBRF district on approximately 12.95 acres. Motion by Supervisor Lair and second by Mr. Nygaard. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, we go down to reports. Waupaca County Board report. We've heard enough of me the last 2 days. Thanking the staff and thanking you supervisors. So I think it's time to introduce our new supervisors. Welcome to the Waupaca County Board of Supervisors. I'm going to brag, but we got a long list of many supervisors that served in this board very successfully and made Waupaca County the great county it is. And I sincerely mean that. You've been so fortunate. I'm going to kind of mirror what I said yesterday. In this county, electing supervisors that try to work things out, think positive, keep the county moving forward, and still yet be somewhat conservative, but we have to move forward. And all of you pretty much have felt that way in my 20-some years here. It wasn't always that way. It's not that way in other counties. So I would like to call the supervisor, the new supervisor, come up here in front of us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were, where you are, and where you think we're going. Tell us about yourself. So I'll call up Mary Craig.
I can bring the mic stand down here so that you can still be on camera and be heard. That works. Okay.
You told me not to touch it.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, I'm Mary Craig. I represent the city of Manawa and part of Little Wolf. I've been on the city council in Manawa. I'm secretary of the Royalton Cemetery Association. That's quite a job. I don't want to be treasurer, but I'm secretary. I'm involved with the Little Wolf River Trails. All of you in front of you have one of the brochures for the Little Wolf River Trails. It's in the city of Manawa. It goes around the city. There's quite a map. We have a stampede that we do usually in July. This year, I don't think we're gonna do it though. We have probably 200 to 250 people that enter into it, a lot of families that come back. So I just wanted to brag about that a little bit. The river trail is not quite a mile. It has 5 bridges on it, which is a covered bridge also. I've lived in Manawa most of my life. I was born in South Dakota. I have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. Anybody know my daughter? She's a medical examiner for Waupaca County. So anyway, that's about all. Anything else?
Thank you, and welcome
You're
aboard.
welcome.
And your daughter's doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go with Mr. Monigalski.
Dennis Wengelski, representing District 4, Town of Larrabee, and parts of Union and DuPont. Decided to get into this. I know if any of you remember my father-in-law, Harold Steenbach, used to be on the board years ago. Currently, I'm the town treasurer for the Town of Larrabee, and I'm the treasurer for the Clintonville FFA alumni. I guess Dwayne Fedowitz, I worked with him for 34 years. I guess I got to be proud. I started working for Farm Credit after he did, and I was able to retire before he did.
So go to him for our advice. Is that what he's saying?
I guess that's about all I have.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks. Welcome aboard. And you told me that.
I can tell a little bit about my family.
Yeah, but I'm going to say just one thing here, because you told me you taught Dwayne everything he knew about finance.
I have 4 children, 2 stepsons, and 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. And I forgot to bring my mug that has all of us, my 5 grandchildren, me, all with a picture on, all dressed in Badger attire. So I'll try and remember to bring that next time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Okay, Mr. Yeager.
Say anything bad about
I got a lot of good things. Well, I've been a lumber fabricator my whole life. Never went on to school, had a chance to be a draftsman, worked at 4-wheel drive for a couple of months, didn't like it, never went on to school. No money in being a draftsman, you gotta be an engineer. So I got into fabrication. I had 30 years at Alice Chalmers. I built everything you could ever imagine. We were in aggregate, rock crushers, paper machinery, pumps that would pump 200,000 gallons a minute. I did most of the rolling and press. I used to roll steel 4 inches thick, 2 inches thick, it didn't matter. And bend steel. I could run CNCs, pretty smart mechanically, very fortunate. I have 1 son, been married, will be 48 years in September, and have 2 grandkids, twins. Very proud of them. Fortunate, but I'm very fortunate. I still do a lot of work myself. I don't hire nothing done, and I do work for other people. A lot of it sideline. I'm being honest about it. I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate I can do this stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm calling up Bob Police District 22. Kind of after this job a couple of years ago already. And I'm looking forward to it. I attend all town board meetings I can, because I think it's very important to find out what's going on there, so you can keep the thing kind of together. Townships like to split off from the county. And we need each other. So that's my goal. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. A lot of dudes I've met, I had 10 years at the highway department, maintenance. So some of you people I have met over the years. Joe, a long time ago.
Thank you for not saying anything bad about me, Ken.
Oh, I had a lot of good times. I never had a bad time at the college. Oh, bad, there, actually knows how, everybody knows how I am. I'm pretty neutral. And it's glad to be here, looking forward.
Glad to have
helping
you.
this whole thing out, from the county, the township, whatever.
Glad to have you. Thank you. Cindy Harvey. Harvey, you're close.
I answered anything. My name is Cindy Hardy, District 20, and I'm now replacing Bill Jonley, which I will never fill his shoes, but I'm looking forward to this position. This is very exciting to me. I'm also a supervisor for the town of Lynn. I own the Lynn Center Greenhouse. This is out in Waupaca. It's our family farm. It's been in the family for over 100 years. It's my great-grandfather's farm. Didn't go to school here. I went to school in Menominee Falls, graduated from River Falls, and came back here to take over the family farm. That's about it. I'm just really looking forward to meeting everybody and learning a lot. And there's so much to learn. And everybody's been so kind telling me you not learn it that quickly. It's going to take a lot of time. And I'm just looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
I've been here 22 years and I learn something every day.
Yeah, it's just, that's what you get out of bed for. If you don't learn something every day, that's not worth getting out of bed.
Are you pretty close to the Lynn Cemetery?
Yes.
I'm just out there and visit our friend Jack Penny. I go
Oh, yes.
there
Yep.
occasionally.
It's a nice little cemetery.
He said to say hi to everybody.
Say hi to him. He's a good man. Oh, yeah.
Just so everyone knows, Cindy doesn't allow us to put a placard out there, but all the beautiful flowers are in our flower boxes when you come into the, Cindy has donated those for years.
And I was talking to
Don,
Christy, no,
Steve. Oh,
and he says he ain't doing it.
yeah.
So I will plant them.
Thank
Yes, but I'm not sure about the watering.
Yeah,
but
Dawn said she'd water
But I will get them planted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Hardy. Is that right? Hardy.
Hardy, yep,
Yes,
Hardy
right.
Farm.
Okay. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Just think of a baseball player for the Brewers.
Yes. We lost.
JJ, how
Oh,
are
that's a while back.
you? Hey, are you proud of me, Dick?
Yes, I am. I know you're a baseball person, so it doesn't surprise me. Questions regarding in my report. Jill, when are we going to have the introduction or the get together with the new supervisors?
As soon
You and I
as,
and Mandy.
pardon me? I'm sorry.
With you and I and Mandy.
We just have to set that up, so
Okay.
we can talk about it after meeting if you'd like.
We'll be meeting with the new supervisors and Jill, myself, Mandy,
Diane
I
and
think
Heidi.
Diane and Heidi, talking about Waupaca County, how we operate, what's expected and so on and so forth. Just and answer any questions you may have. Everybody has a lot of questions, so we'll be setting that up soon. Okay, you ready for announcements, Jill?
I am. I'll just talk loudly and if everyone can hear me okay. The May 19th County Board meeting is still scheduled. We will still have that. It will probably still be down here like we are now. So we'll probably just kind of try to leave it set up because we will have some business to take care of. The county board supervisor picture that we typically take at our organizational session, we will plan that for a later date. I'm not sure when that will be yet. Jessica Beckendorf from UW Extension has agreed to take that picture because she has a professional camera, which is very nice of her. So have to wait until she's back in the office and able to do that, and we can all be together. And then we'll do the introduction of department heads once we can be in our normal county boardroom as well, so that the new supervisors can get to know some of the new county all the department heads, pardon me. That's all I have, sir.
I don't know, maybe the new supervisors want to know who I am and how I got here too, I don't know. But yeah.
What's your name? Former second baseman for the Milwaukee Braves.
Dick, I think we should all introduce ourselves to the news.
That's a good idea. Let's start over here with Mr. Newman then.
What did you want?
Do you want introduce yourself, Dad?
Tell everyone about you, where you were, where you are, and that type of thing, what you did for real living.
Our time limit.
Okay, my name's Dave Newman. I represent District 25 on the far south side of New London. I have the smallest district area-wise, but the population is the same. I never had trouble getting people to sign my nomination papers because there's 2 cemeteries in my district. So I just write names off of headstones. Anyway, I started working for Waupaca County. It will be 50 years ago in the middle of August for Jack Penny on the old traffic patrol. And I was there a couple of years, and then I went to New London Police Department, and I retired from there in February of 1999, which is a long time ago. We have 2 children. Joel lives in Green Bay. He's been working from home for 5 years. And our daughter Ann and her husband live in Houston. Greg works for a company that's subcontracted to ExxonMobil. They monitor all of ExxonMobil's petroleum in the world, all the storage and the transmission of it. So we weren't really worried about him losing his job over this. Anyway, I live on Division Street in New London. As far east as you can go in the county, I can throw a stone into Allegheny County, and I've been on the board since, I don't know, 2012 or something like that. I came on with, who came on in that year? Fred came on, and Mary Kay came on that year. So anyway, that's my life story. You don't want to know my hobbies, I guess. I don't do much of anything. Terry does. I read a lot, Terry. So a lot of history, nonfiction. Anyway, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Newman.
I'm also very hard of hearing, even with my hearing aids. So, you know, if you're talking to me, just look at me and yell like my wife does.
Thank you. Mr. McClellan.
That is a tough act to follow. I'm gonna tone it down a little bit. Born and raised in Bear Creek, lived in Waupaca County once I went to Iowa in 1975, and I've been here ever since. We got the greatest county in the world, and where I grew up, I was only a half mile away from Waupaca County, and Dick, I used to watch in the paper when he played baseball, because he was a little bit older than me. The reason I came to the mic is so that the people that are zooming this can also hear me. So I love Waupaca County, retired as a school principal in Waupaca Middle School. And it was one of the smartest things I ever did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Mr. Johnson.
Hi, everybody. I've been with the county board, I think, since 2002. And I've learned a lot, and I've been here a long time, so I've known everybody, and it's been a real great group to work with, especially the manager. I worked for public service for 34 years. I started there right after I got out of the military. And then I was married, got 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. The girl was the easiest to raise, I can tell you that. But it's been good, and it's a good group of people to work with. It really is. Everyone here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Supervisor Craig. just see somebody skipped out.
I am, let's start it this way. Death, taxes, and Pat Craig being elected treasurer for the town of Loyalton. Some things never change. That was the lead sentence when I won my 12th term as a treasurer. And I thought, what? This guy from Waupaca Chronicle lumps me in with death and taxes? But then the second sentence brought me back. The affable treasurer has been, elected for 24 years. And I thought, wow, this is really great. Then he went on to list everybody else in that election who got elected. And I thought, things are looking good here. He told the chairman and supervisors. And then he came to the last sentence. He said, Craig was elected in 1975. That's true. And then he put in parentheses, when Gerald Ford was president. You think I felt old then? I'm a lot older now, and I'm still treasurer for the town of Royalton. So in 1996, the chairman for Royalton was also on the county board of supervisors. And he said to supervisor number one, do you want to run for county board? And he said, oh, I don't want that job. Then he said to supervisor number two, do you want to run for chairman or, for my position as supervisor? And he said, no, I don't think so. He finally looked at me because I've always been interested in this kind of thing. And he said, well, Pat, you have the time. To which I said, indeed I do. I'll run for supervisor. So in 96, and now I'm proud to report I'm the most senior member on the county board. Nobody's been here longer. Since Bob Fleece and Bill Jonley retired, it's, senior. You don't want to claim it, but you got to own up to it. And so I really enjoyed it. I'm still treasurer, I'm still supervisor, so that's my life. I believe that we have to give back to our community by serving the people. I have 2 children, a son and a daughter, and 2 grandchildren that we're very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Craig. Supervisor Gerald Murphy.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
Dick made a big mistake. He never give an old teacher the floor because he may never give it up. And that's all right. Anyway, I was born in Clintonville, eventually moved to Waupaca, went to high school here. After high school, college, got into education, my wife and I both, and taught school down in Port Washington, for some of you that know where that is, for 35 and a half years before retiring and moving back up here. When I was teaching there, I taught U.S. history and government. And when I got out, somebody at this front table said, well, since you were teaching government, telling those kids all the time, do something for your communities, do something for your country, always vote and all those things. It's about time you step forward and do something. So Dave Johnson, a classmate of mine in high school, a little older than me, but he never lets me forget I'm 5 days older than him. Talked me into running for the county board, and in 2004, with a lot of trepidation, I ran and was defeated the guy that had been holding the spot and was elected. And it was a great decision to do that. I was worried at first, but it has been so fulfilling to me. And I hope I've done some good while I've been here. I was glad when I saw Terry Murphy get on the county board. You know, Terry's my uncle. And getting to my family, my wife and I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. We only have 4 grandchildren, unfortunately. We'd love to have more, but not going to happen. And I represent District 14, which is around the Chena Lakes area. And working with the people in this room for years, it's been a great experience. Everybody, Dick says, everybody agrees to disagree, but they agree to be friends after they get done disagreeing. And I've never had a time when I felt that somebody was holding a grudge or something like that. So it's been a great ride since 2004, and who knows how long it'll last. But thank you for working with me, and thank you new people for stepping up and serving on the county board, and I'm sure we're going to enjoy each other's company.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Questor.
Afraid to say that. I just want to make it real clear that Mr. Murphy and Dave Johnson, we were in the same class in Waupaca High School, and we all graduated. I don't know how, but we did. But anyway, I represent district number 2, which is kind of in the north half of Clintonville. I served 4 years on the city council, and Dick was on at the time, I believe. And then Hank Steenbach, who was the supervisor at that time for District 2, retired, and I ran for the office, and I've been on for 22 years, and I've got 4 kids and 4 step-kids, 4 boys and 4 girls. I got 34 grandchildren, and I got 7 great-grandchildren. So I got a hell of a job remembering all their names. I tried. But anyway, I again welcome the new supervisors that stepped up to the plate. We need people like that. And I've enjoyed every day of this position. And I thank Mr. Kevin for leading us. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Christian. You didn't tell us what you did for your real job.
Well, I kind of keep that a secret.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But I served 32 years in law enforcement, 27 and a half with the Sheriff's Department. I retired as a captain of detectives.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Fedowitz.
You better salute him, he's a captain. Jerry.
Wait, not done.
Yeah. Okay, I was born and raised in Calumet County. Moved up to Clintonville, and I took my job with Farm Credit Services. I stayed there, unbelievable, for 43 years. Came on the county board as a result of Mr. Keppen. He approached me. Rosemary Sassi was representative for District 1 up there. And he asked if I would be willing to serve. I'm also the town chairman for the town of Madison. I've been fortunate in a lot of ways, health-wise and everything else. I have 5 children. I think 2 things you need to remember about my children only. My youngest son is 6'11", and my daughter has 2 sets of twins. I have 13 grandchildren, and one of my favorite things is to travel, and I've been fortunate to be in 26 different countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fedowitz. One quick story going back to Mr. Murphy. A little known fact is his father was an esteemed doctor in the city of Clintonville, Dr. Murphy. And my wife Nancy was the last baby that he delivered.
Can't do any better than that.
Okay, let's go down to Mary Kay, Supervisor Pullman, Vice Chair.
let's see, where do I start? I'm a retired LPN from the Wisconsin Veterans Home. I worked there for over 30 years. I was on Waupaca City Council for 10 years. Enjoyed that very much. And my husband and I had a fuel oil and LP business. I had a coffee house in downtown Waupaca and an antique store and an ice cream shop, a couple other things, which kept me real busy until I decided it was time to give it all up and sell the business. And then I spent about 8 years being just grandma, babysitting for my daughter. I have 15 grandchildren, no great-grandchildren yet. They're all single. Well, one of them got married a year ago. But, and I've been on the county board since 2012. And I've enjoyed it very much. And I also welcome all the new people, and I'm sure we're all going to enjoy working together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dick, I didn't know if you wanted to get Bob Ellis or Dave, one of the Zoom people on right away, or if you want to get everyone in the room first.
Did I hear my name called?
What
I'm Bob Ellis. I've been on the board since 2010. Kenneth Hurlbut passed away, and Jack Penny said, why don't you run for Hurlbut's job? You know him, and maybe that'll all work out. And so far, it's worked out pretty darn well. It's a privilege being on the county board. I have a picture I want to show. Yesterday was the 55-year anniversary of this event.
Oh, yeah.
That's 7,000 Marines making it ashore on May the 5th, 1965 in Chu South Vietnam, and not a single veteran or not a single Marine was injured during the 7,000 people landing in the old-fashioned way, which was a record. And I got hugged by a general from the Marine Corps to thank me for what I did. And when you weigh 120 pounds and you're 6'2", and the general is grabbing you and lifting you off the ground, frankly, it's as scary as it can be, but it's part of the fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want Dick Rowan.
Might as well, while we're back there.
Dick Rowan, do you want to talk?
Sure. Boy, that's a tough act to follow.
Sorry.
You're a good American. We appreciate all your service. I took over for Lloyd Mayers when he was off the board, and he gave me a lot of encouragement. I've been a town supervisor for the town of Bear Creek, so I've had some experience. I've had 30 years working for the highway department. Love my job outside every day. I got to be a foreman there for 12 or 14 years. I'm not sure. I've been married to my wife for almost 45 years. It'll be 45 years in August. We have 2 children, 2 girls. They're both school teachers. I've got 4 grandchildren, and that's about it. And I welcome all the new people on the county board, and looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everyone. That's on Zoom.
Okay. Mr. Monk.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm always in a hurry. I'm Lee Muck. I'm from Marion. I represent the city of Marion and part of DuPont. I was born and raised there. They put the gate up 77 years ago, and they never let me out except to come to Waupaca. But baseball was fun. But me and my wife, we owned a small grocery store in Marion for 35 years. We have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. Here again, I'm a proud grandpa. I have 7 grandkids, and I got my first grandchild. My grandson got married and had a girl too, so we got one real quickly. It takes long to get a granddaughter. Just got married. We had great granddaughter, so. I replaced Jim Flake, who was on the board for 35 years. So if I stay as long as Jim was, I'm gonna be 105 when I get home. So you guys are gonna have a long time. It'll take me longer to get up here when I'm 105. But I enjoy this job. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of times you can argue with people, discuss things, and I enjoy doing this. So I played baseball, or tried to play baseball against Dick, and I played at Little Falls. I had some relatives at Little Falls. They needed a catcher one year, so I played baseball. Wasn't any good at it, but they needed somebody that could catch the ball for the pitcher, so I got the job. But we beat Clinton.
Cut him off now.
And I enjoy this. Oh, and talking about Bob Ellis, I was in the service also for 6 years in the National Guard, but I didn't want to go to Vietnam. I didn't believe in the Vietnam War, so I joined the Guards. And at that time, you had to put 6 years in instead of just 2 years of service. So I got to have fun, and we were ground pounders. I got to go to Milwaukee and stand under a street light when they had the curfew. There wasn't a person when we came down that day. It was the middle of June. There wasn't a person moving in Milwaukee. It was always remind me of the movies of when the atomic bomb went off. There's nobody alive anymore. As we came into Milwaukee down 41, there wasn't a vehicle, a car, or anybody. It was kind of scary, but I was trained to shoot. Never had to fire a weapon at anybody, and I enjoyed it always. Thank you.
Just a minute, Mr. Monk.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the story after the man you replaced.
Oh.
We always go out and look for some recruits that might be good in any government process. And I knew Lee is a very good businessman. He was a community-minded person. And I called him up, how about running for the county board? And Mr. Flake, no, I'm not gonna do that. He said, my wife isn't real well and I don't have time for meetings. I said, well, just give it some thought, okay? We don't have hardly any night meetings. It's during the day. Nope. I think I might have called him up a week later. He said, well, I'm thinking about it. I knew I had him then. And here he is. And thanks for the good job you do here.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Where am I at here? Terry Murphy.
Oh, yeah. Jerry's uncle. Nicest niece I ever had. Oh, is there anybody here that hasn't played baseball against you? No, it's Pat. Pat, you probably can play against me. All right. My name's Terry Murphy. I've been on this board, I don't even know how long, I think between 10 and 15 years. I'm from the city of Chicago, born and raised, probably the only person in the room that wasn't born and raised in Wisconsin. I think there's got to be somebody else who wasn't born and raised in Wisconsin. A monumental time for me, and I think a lot of you people are going to remember this. When you get that little work history from Social Security, and it'll list every little job that you ever get. And it's a real reminder. Talk about feeling old, and when I got mine. Anyway, I married a little girl from Ireland. She's passed away since then, since we were married. We were married for 50 years. Raised 5 children. None of them are up here in Wisconsin. They're all back in either Chicago. I've got one in Indianapolis. I've got 7 grandchildren. I love every one of them. The grandchildren are a lot better than your own children because you're older, you have a little money, and you can spend it on. When your kids were little, it was tough. Right? Anyway, at some point, I was working at a factory in Chicago. I didn't like it. I had an opportunity to go on a police department there, and I did. I spent 30 years working as a police officer. I retired as a sergeant in the Chicago Police Department. But one day I was riding around I was looking at the newspaper, my wife and I were thinking of something to do if I ever retired. And I saw an ad for this little motel in Iowa. Now, I had no idea where Iowa was, what kind of people lived there. But we came up and we looked at this place and we really liked it. The motel was nice, it was clean, it was a beautiful home there, it was a nice apartment. So we bought it. We were there, I've been there for, I think 26 years now. I think it was 95, so it's gonna be, how many years is that? Is it 25? Yeah. So we've been there for 25 years and we've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the people of Iowa. I've enjoyed being on this county board. And I just one more little thing to say. I wound up being on the county board because a guy named Harold Buckles, and many of you remember Harold, he was quite a speaker, quite a talker. I think I'm imitating him right now. But he kept coming around my house and asking me to run for the county board. And the only thing Harold knew about me is I picked up garbage with him on Highway 49 with the Lions Club. But I don't know, maybe I did a good job. So he finally came around and I said, no, Harold, I don't want that job. Come around again, I said, Harold, no, I don't want it. Third time he comes in, he said, all right, this is the last time I'm coming. I said, listen, why don't you go down there? There's a guy down the street that I gave him a name. He said, no, there's enough cops on the county board. I said, but Harold, I was a cop. He said, yeah, but you're different. You're okay. So, here I am. And, I'm the only person in District 27 that knows I'm the county supervisor. So nobody else knows me. Nobody bothers me. I never really get a chance to do much. Here I am. I've been here for a long time and I do the best I can.
Thank you very much. Mr. Todd.
I'm Fred Zog. I've been on the county board, I guess, since 2012. And I'm always had an interest in government. And I'm also on the city council in London, starting my second term. Let's see what else here. Living in London, District 24, which is also a sliver of Muckwit in the district. Dave Newman and I are adjoining districts. Years ago, Tony Thompson was at a funeral. He was there. His comment was, county government's where it's at. And I was telling Dick earlier that the county board is a heck of a lot, I guess, more fun and interesting, and I think more effective than the city councils. And I enjoyed it here in my time. And for you new folks, welcome. Everybody here, give you a hand. Seems to work together to do what's best for all the citizens of Waupaca County. So that's my spiel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Todd. Jan Lear.
Well, I am another native of Clintonville. I was born in Allegheny County at New London Hospital, but raised in Clintonville, Wisconsin. My high school years I spent in the convent in Manitowoc. I was in the convent for 15 and a half years when I finally came out, and I was a nurse at that time. I went to nursing school. And I located myself back in Appleton, worked for Appleton Medical Center, now I think it is Theta Clark. And I also worked for a private orthopedic doctor in Appleton. And I worked with him until his retirement. And then I went back to school in safety engineering and located myself at Hortonville, at the Hortonville Manufacturing, which was a toy factory. And then my husband decided to retire he worked for the electric company in Kokana, and he was able to find land up in the northern part of Waupaca County. So we are tree farmers. We have roughly 90 acres, and I decided I needed something else to do. So I became a first responder for Waupaca County, and I also am working at the Lions Camp during the summer as a camp nurse. So then I got a little more boring, and I saw an ad in the paper, and the ad read, they were looking for candidates to serve on the Health and Human Service Board here for Waupaca County. And I decided to apply. And I did get on the Health and Human Service Board, and I was on as a citizen. Then we didn't have representation up in the 8th area district. So I decided I was going to run for that. So this is my second term on the county board. And I have to say, Dick was a bowler, and I am a bowler also. And he bowled with my dad. And played sports with my brothers.
Yes, play baseball, teammates.
And I do hold Packer tickets. And I'm on the 50-yard line, 7 rows up. Oh, 6, 12, and 13. So I'm proud of that.
Who's your favorite county clerk?
I guess that's all I'm going to say about my life right now.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. Where are we at, Joe?
Tim Nygaard.
Hi, I'm Jim Nygaard. I represent District 9. My wife Nancy and I live about 10 minutes north of Waupaca here. Take 49 north Highway Q and go west good half a mile. I farm, and I don't have a long list of interesting occupations like so many in this room do. I attended school at UW-Madison. Before my sophomore year, I was in a car accident and was laid up. And by the time I recouped, I had a chance to buy some land on a land contract, and I planned on farming anyway. The degree was just going to be in case things didn't work out, I had something to fall back on. So I farmed with my parents and a few other family members who are all retired now. We sold the cows when I was 52 years old, and I was on a pretty short leash for a lot of years when you're milking cows. So my wife Nancy is a semi-retired kitchen designer. She's in Florida right now. We have a little place in Tarpon Springs that we're hoping to get to once in a while. And District 9, where I represent, I was encouraged by previous representatives, Don Peterson, Dale Trenner, Darrell Swenson, and they encouraged me. And I really enjoy the interaction with all of you in here. I was on that, I still farm. I farm about 500 acres, corn and soybeans and a little hay. And it's kind of quiet out there. So I get to be around all you smart, interesting people, and I really enjoy it. And thank you for being patient for me when I ask a question that gets off track on an agenda, and I have to be reined in a little bit because it's just something interesting I want to ask somebody. So I look forward to serving, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nygaard.
Dave Morak is around the pole.
Mr. Morak.
Yes, good morning. I'm Supervisor Dave Morak, or Supervisor Mork, as some people like to call me. I live in New London, next to the Dairy Queen. Used to be a lean, mean, loving machine when we moved down there Now I have a path to the Dairy Queen. Read that quite often. Started my career, I graduated from UWO as a math teacher. In fact, I taught evolution in high school. I was starting to hike through the Vietnam War. They say they didn't draft teachers. They lied. So I spent a year in Vietnam. Came back, spent 31 years working for a little company called AAL, or Fragrance. Also became a treasurer for the town of Grand Chute, just north of Appleton. Became a CPA. Currently, I'm the council president. I've been an alderman for the city now for 20 years. Currently, the council president. Also teach for Lakeland University. And looking forward to the day when I can retire. My wife says, well, when you get old, then you can retire. So looking forward to that. And I want to thank Dick for actually having this where we interviewed ourselves. I was wondering all these people were in here. This is my second term on the board. I've been really enjoyed it so far. And I'm sure I'm looking forward to being one of the people as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Supervisor Sue Golding, and I represent District 16, and I took Supervisor Jack Penny's spot. And so this is my first elected term as a supervisor, and I really enjoyed the past year learning. There's so much to learn, and I am looking forward to serving Waupaca County longer. And I have lived in the town of Lynn for over 43 years, and I've been married to my husband Doug for 43 years, and we have 2 children, 3 grandchildren, and I have been involved in the town of Lynn for more years than I can remember. I don't know when I actually started going to town meetings, but on that journey, Jack Penny was always there, and I sat by him at many of those meetings, and he was kind of my mentor, and that's why I ran for supervisor, because the last summer he was with us, he was encouraging me to run for the town board, and so I thought, well, if he believed in me when I thought I would help the town of Lynn out, someone had to represent the town of Lynn, and so that is why I ran for the town of Lynn, because of Jack Penny, that I have so much respect for, and he's done such a great job for our town, as many of you know him, and so I've known him for many, many years. And I've lived in Waupaca County my entire life. I graduated from Iowa Scandinavia schools. I started at the Veterans Home a week after I graduated in food service. I was a school food authority at St. Peter's Lutheran School in Waupaca for over 15 years. When I went to Lakeview Manor in Waupaca, and I worked there until they closed. And I just retired a couple weeks ago from theater care. So my background is in healthcare and food service. And and everyone here has been so nice to me, and I am learning so much every day, and I look forward to continuing serving Waupaca County and to continue to learn. And I live a third of a mile from the Lynn Town Hall, east of it, and so I am right down the center of Lynn Center. And District 16, I also represent part of the town of Dayton, which my my brother-in-law, Bruce Golding, many of you probably remember him. He retired from the highway department, and he was the town of Dayton supervisor. In that part, Bruce and I were a lot alike. We talked politics a lot at family gatherings. And my husband Doug worked for the highway department, and my father-in-law, George, worked for the highway department. So that is my background for the county of Waupaca, and I'm proud to represent Waupaca County. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Golding. Mr. Whittle?
My name is Kevin Will. I represent District 10, which includes part of the city of Waupaca and part of Farmington Township, Woodridge subdivision, Covered Bridge subdivision. I was born and raised in Fond du Lac County. Came up here in '87, worked for Health and Human Services. Spent approximately 20 years in Health and Human Services for Waupaca County. Moved on to working for the state of Wisconsin at the Wisconsin Veterans Home for approximately 6 years. Probably the most significant part of myself had to do with the fact that I met and married your former county clerk, Mary Robbins. We'll be celebrating 26 years on the 21st of this month. She actually got me involved in the idea of being part of the county board. I know we mentioned Jack Penny. We also have to talk about Donnie Fabricius, who was somewhat influential for me because I was for 2 years the town chairman for Farmington. And those two gentlemen in particular, I think I have always had great respect for. And because of that, I felt a need to step up when I was asked to come onto the board. I've been here for 2 years. This is my second term it will be. The committees I've been on were always very helpful. There's a lot to learn as those who have been here for a long time. And I have to thank, before I move on here, actually Fred Zog, because was on both committees I was on. He was always very helpful, and I have to say to the new people, look to those who have been here, those who have a great sense of humor and aren't afraid to ask questions on things and go by their leadership as such. I also own a pet shop, actually here, it'll be 10 years this October in Waupaca. Been retired for approximately seven years. I've actually been retired because I had the privilege of working for the counties and the state for my entire life. And Health and Human Services. I used to be social services, I was years before. And as I said, the Wisconsin Veterans Home. I did work at Lakeview Manor, for those who are familiar with that, for some period of time as they needed someone to fill in for some of that particular position on that. I'm very honored to have gotten a second election. I'm looking forward to working on the newest committee I've been assigned to. And I have to agree with Mr. Keppen here, who talks about the committees being the backbone of the board, and that the committees are very important. So for the new members, the committee you are on is very important. You need to, talk about things, bring up things, and, go with your committees and support them that you belong to. So I thank you for that, and I'm looking forward to this year.
Thank you, Supervisor Will.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm Pete Bosketh. As I was explaining to Fred earlier today, it's Boss Kiss. But anything close and I'll know you're talking to me. I was born and raised in New London. I worked After I graduated high school from there, I worked at Presto Products in Waupaca for 12.5 years as an industrial mechanic. I got tired of crawling around on cement floors, so I went put myself through school and then went into law enforcement. I spent a total of 23 years with the Waupaca County Sheriff's Department. Started out as a water patrol officer, went to the transport officer, and then patrol deputy. I also was lucky enough to get on the SWAT team and did just about every job on the SWAT team there is. And I also got to be a firearms instructor for 17 years, working with the sheriff. We had a lot of fun doing that, coming up with new programs and stuff. And I got to live every little boy's dream, driving cars fast, shooting guns, kicking in doors. It was a blast. I retired, did a little substitute teaching, and then was approached to run for the county board. I won my first election. The people that I spoke with said I was doing a pretty good job for them, so they elected me again. So I'm honored to be here. It's more fun than I ever imagined, getting to work with everybody. And for the new people, I suggest go introduce yourself after the main meeting with all the department heads. Go introduce yourself and have a one-on-one conversation with them, and just let them know where you're coming from, and that really helped me to understand their departments a little bit better, and a little more expansive than what most people know in each department. So that's my advice to the new people. And it looks like I'm still the baby of the board. I'm the youngest one. Never got a chance to play baseball against Dick, but I think I could take it now.
You don't have a cane.
That's it.
Dick Rowan.
You know what I am?
Oh, we got Dick.
Dick Rowan.
Yes.
We did do Dick Rowan, Bob.
Oh, we did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you don't mind, I'll introduce myself. Yeah, I have so far along an eventful life. I have to say that I was not born in Clintonville. I was not born in Waupaca County. I was born and raised in the great county of Shawano. I escaped over the border in about 1959 in Waupaca and attended Clintonville High School. The thing with it is, I was born in Shawano, and my dad died when I was 3 months old of leukemia. And my mother kind of abandoned me and put me with my grandparents on a farm in the township of Shawano County, where I was brought up on a farm. And that was really a good thing for me, because I learned farming. I loved farming, and decided that I had to either go to Shawano High School or Clintonville. I was right on the line. I decided to go to Clintonville High School. So that I did, and kept on helping chores in the morning before I went to school. And then the city kids would say, "Boy, can I take a shower before you come in here? Kathy, it smell like manure." I probably did. But that being said, graduated from Clintonville High School and attended St. Norbert College, and had three career choices. Being a priest was one. In fact, a good friend of mine at St. Norbert College and I went out drinking one night. He told me that he was decided to be a priest at the St. Norbert Abbey and asked me to join him. Well, I had a girlfriend at home at the time, and I just didn't think I should do that. His name was Father Gene Greaves. Now he's retired. So I went to St. Norbert College and was an ROTC. I really liked that. However, I decided to go to Mortuary College in Milwaukee. So I went to Mortuary College, graduated, and served internship in 2 different funeral homes in Milwaukee. The last one named me the Harder Funeral Home, the largest funeral home in Wisconsin at the time. Herman Harder was born in Caroline, Wisconsin. And he was a sergeant of funeral home on the north side of Milwaukee. And all the big shot funeral directors laughed at him in Milwaukee. Well, Herman could talk German, He got all the German people coming to the Springer home, and he was busy. And that's how I got hired on mortuary school. I got an interview, and, well, you're from Clintonville. Yeah, well, and so there was nothing to have 25 funerals a week. I mean, I'm kidding. I have to tell you a side story, a little side story. I had my first year with him. We had 20 caskets down the stairs with names on them. We show them 3 at a time. And he said, you know, I have to make a pickup on the south side of Milwaukee. I'm going to let you get Mrs. Phillips and bring her up and set her backdrop with all the set. And the family's coming at 12:30. You can handle that. Sure, I can. Bet I will, Mr. Hart. So I had somebody help me get the casket up, and then we got it all arranged nicely, and the family came in, and they walked down. I walked down with them, and they got to the casket and said, "Oh, that's not my mother." Oh, boy. I said, "I'm so sorry." I said, I'm kind of a young funeral director here, and we were so busy. I'm sorry. If you come back in 45 minutes, everything's going to be fine. Well, they were pretty nice about it, but I had to tell my boss what I did when he got back. He wasn't too happy, but since I was complete, though, he still got me on. That was just an embarrassing situation. But at any rate, get on with the story here. After a couple of years, the same grandparents that brought me up on the farm in town of Pella both had strokes, and I got a call in Milwaukee saying, "Dick, would you please come home and help on the farm? Your grandma's in the hospital and I'm not well." And I just had gotten married, and lucky I got married to a farm girl, and I approached her with this. And she said, "Let's go." That's all I needed to hear. So then we farmed for a few years in the town of Pella, ended up selling the farm. And of course, I was still helping out funeral homes around in the area on weekends or when they were on vacations. And then lo and behold, a newspaper editor, Shano in Clintonville Tribune Gazette, stopped in to see me one day and said, my wife gets her hair done by your wife, Kay. And just wondering if you might be looking for a job. Would you like to come to work for the Tribune Gazette? I said, doing what? Everything. Sell advertising, you can write sports if you want. And I said, I'm not a journalism graduate at all, I'm a plumber. Let's see if it'll work. Well, short story, I was there for 24 years. And then I went into business for myself, Captain's Medical Transports. I've had for 33 years. And one mistake that was going into business. Going into business is not fun, especially now these times when you got a small business. But in the meantime, being active in the community, I was asked to be in a number of city committees, citizen committees, and I never said no. I thought it was a learning experience. I was on the planning commission. At that time, I was even on a human resource commission as a citizen, and it was a learning experience. So along about 1989, I decided I'm going to run for office and maybe get paid for this. So I did, and I was elected alderman. But in the meantime, I was also, 1977, I joined the Clintonville Fire Department. In 1990 or 1980, the EMTs had to be licensed, and I took the EMT program and served as president of the Clintonville Ambulance Service for a number of years. And I did both for 15 years, fire and ambulance, until my business started to get pretty busy and I had to take care of that. Being in the city council, I was there for 14 years for the city of Clintonville. Some trying times, I have to say. And then I was dumb enough to run for mayor in 2000. I was ready on the county board in 1998, and I won. And so now I really had the guns on me. And I was the mayor for 2 terms. And then in 2004, Dewey Brown came to me and said, "Dick, I'm going to relinquish being you are my pick to be the county board chair." So I got rid of my mayor's job while I waited until my term was up, because that would have been a conflict of interest anyway, between the two. So I've been here for all that time, served with many great supervisors. I was just going through the list yesterday. There's so few of us left from that time. And I looked down the list and things I learned from each supervisor. It's kind of funny, when I got elected, I went against John Schrader, who was, I think, on a board for 27 years ago, and Jack Penny's close friend. Jack did not like me for the first year I was on. Somehow, some way, we got to be friends. We got to be good friends. In fact, in 2010, I was elected president of the Wisconsin County Association, and I had Jack swear me in front of 1,000 people, all dressed up and everything. Gets up there and he says, "I'm going to guarantee you folks one thing. Dick Kevin will be the first president of the Wisconsin County Association to be impeached." That was my friend Jack. But at any rate, my term with the Wisconsin County Association was so educational too. Went traveling a lot with Mark O'Connell all over the nation, to NACO things and to other things, and met Mark O'Connell, and I'm going to have him meet all of you someday. You people just got elected here. Dynamic leader, dynamic, what should I say, manager. He's a executive director. It was a great experience. I just have to back up and tell you one thing too. And I wasn't always short, fat, and bald. I still ranked second stolen bases for the Clipper Lays someplace. But in 2010, I was ready to tee off the Clipper golf course with my Thursday golfers, and my phone rings. And here's the doctor I saw 2 days ago. He said, "Nick, I just want to tell you, you've got cancer. We've got to operate as soon as we can. We get down here tomorrow to make arrangements." Wow. Well, I hit the first 2 balls out of bounds. And after that, I settled down. What are you going to do? And then at night, I was home having a cocktail with my wife, Nancy. And my doctor called. "Nick, don't worry. We're going to get through this together." What comforting words. So I had my surgery done in the valley, and a year later came back. Now it's in my bone. When cancer gets in your bone, that's not good. So I got sent to the Mayo Clinic and have been doctoring there ever since. Twice they were able to eradicate that cancer from my bone. I get tested regularly, and through different ways that the valley had never even heard of doing this, and different treatments. Some of which were experimental, and some which my insurance didn't want to pay either, but they took care of it. I have to also say that my wife Nancy and I have 3 children each. We married in 1996. My first wife died in 1988, and she died of AIDS. Now, back in the 80s, she had a disease that she bled a lot. She got blood transfusion. She got a blood transfusion from the Apple Blood Bank in about 86. And suddenly, we were out golfing one day. She couldn't go past 3 holes. She was so tired. And so we took her in, and here enough, she had the AIDS virus. Back to Mayo Clinic, and even the Mayo Clinic at that time had no cure for AIDS. So they put her on some experimental medication and see if that would help. And it didn't. And we went back and they said, "You've got 2 years. That's the most we can get." She didn't even make 2 years. And I had to go and tell the kids that, and not understanding a lot about AIDS and any of that stuff, but it was a terrible thing for the community to know. We tried to keep it quiet, but what are you going to do? My son Bob Kevin and I took care of her the last final months at home, and she wanted to die at home. And we were able to do that until the last day. And then she was taken to the hospital. So that's another experience. And then that was in 1988, and Nancy I married in 1995. Children, I have 3 children. I have 2 boys. My oldest boy is a graduate of the University of Minnesota. He's involved in banking and finance. Up there, he's been there forever. And that whole industry's really changed a lot too. I know he's fighting for his job last year, but Big Bank of America bought him out and they kept him on. My second son is Bob, who lives in Clintonville, by the way. He's a captain with Delta Airlines, and he's for 20 years now, and he's still flying. In fact, he told me last week, one time he had 3 people on board, next time he had 6 people on board, and it's pretty slight up there. And he's supposed to work this weekend again. In New York, when they land, they gotta have masks on, and in Michigan. Other states, you don't have to have masks. Just difference in the state. My daughter, Sherry, is been a head librarian down in Evanston, Illinois high school, rather new high school. Been doing that forever. And I made a big mistake of sending her a joke, presidential joke, and she sent me back, don't ever mention that man's name again to me. So, yeah, I knew that I should have realized that. So that's it. I'm sure Waupaca County, I've got a passion for it. I love Waupaca County because after my term with the head of the WCA, I appreciate this county so much. So much. And I said that before, because of the supervisors, because of the staff. We're so lucky. We're so lucky to have that togetherness and getting things done like we do. So, other than that, I guess that's it. I welcome all the new supervisors. Don't be afraid to get in touch with me. I have a bad problem of turning my phone off during meetings, and a day later I realize it's still off. Nancy tells me about that often. So, good. That it, Joe?
We just need a
What
motion
about
to
you?
adjourn.
Let's hear about you.
No, I'm not part of the board.
You are the board. I thought yesterday you told me I was the boss.
You are the boss.
Well, you're going to tell us about yourself.
Dick, I can remember her in 6th grade.
Can you really?
I heard talk.
I'm Jill Lodewagen. I'm your county clerk. I was elected in 2017, so I am completing my first term this year. I am married to my husband Terry for 32 years. We have 2 grown children. One that's supposed to be getting married this year, but we may be putting that off till next year. We're on the waiting game because it's supposed to be in July, and I have 1 grandson.
Very good.
And I'm from the Iowa area.
Yes, and you're a baseball fan.
I have to be. I'm married to a Marion boy. I wasn't before that.
I played against your father, by the way.
Yes.
One heck of a good pitcher.
Diane, were you from this area? Do you get to be from this area? No, you weren't.
Marion. I can't hear you with that mask on.
Yeah, I was going to wait to the department head when we introduce ourselves, so I'm not calling myself out, but my name is Diane Mullimans. I'm the corporation counsel, so when I say this, I also say my mom really doesn't understand what I do, but she said, don't you put people in jail anymore? And I said, no, that's when I did child support, Mom. And she said, well, I tell her I do leases and I provide guidance to the county board, and I'm the parliamentarian and I help all the department heads. And then she says, putting people in jail sounds more fun. So,
Were you born in Marion?
I was not. So Supervisor Muck is familiar with my father, who, and you probably know my mom too.
Oh, yes.
So my parents, Jerry and Doris Mullimans, were teachers, and they started their careers together in Marion School District. So my father was the high school English teacher as well as the football coach. And my mom was the FIA teacher, and she supervised the cheerleaders. So a really cute way to meet one another. So they've been married 58 years now, I believe. They got married in the Catholic Church in Marion. I am a graduate of UW-Madison Law School, and this next month I will celebrate my 20 years of practice. So that 20 years really flew by. So As I think Pete said, Supervisor Vasquez said, it's a really good thing to go one-on-one with the department head. So I would really encourage you to do that, to learn more about who the people are who are managing the operations every day. My role here for the Board of Supervisors is I'm the parliamentarian for the meeting. So where there are rules, issues, and sort of how decisions get made as a body, that's my role, and to guide you. You supervisors will also see me as part of the orientation with the other staff and Chair Kepin, and we'll talk about open meetings and public records during that time. So I provide a lot of guidance to all the department heads on those issues as well. So welcome to the new people, and we're kicking off a new term under these unusual times. So many people in my life have very significant health issues, so I take as much precaution as I can. So you'll see me masked most of the time. So thanks for understanding that.
Thank you, Diane. And before we adjourn, I just want to remind you, you're going to hear this plenty, the new supervisors, that county government is committee driven. It's so unlike city councils, town boards, we're committee driven because we've got so many departments and so much money that we're putting out for services that every department's got a board, their own board. And you on the board, working with the head of the department, the professional, work on your budgets together, and then it's brought forth to the whole board. So all 27 of us, really, if we had to get a say in everything that's brought to the county board floor from some other committee, it just doesn't work that way. We have to have, the word is trust. Trust. Because our committees, I feel, do a heck of a great job for us. So with that,
I move to adjourn.
you in a hurry, friend?
Oh,
Mr. Todd made a motion to adjourn.
Sounds good. Well,
And a second by, we are adjourned. It's undebatable. And who was it? Joel, it's your idea to have everybody introduced, right? Great job.